Okay. Please tell us your name, age, and where you live.
My name is Paula Steinert. I'm currently 63 years old, and I'm a lifelong resident of Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
What were you diagnosed with or experiencing before starting the neuropathy program?
Well, the neuropathy was actually a result of the chemo that I went through for inflammatory breast cancer in 2021. And my chemo had actually been finished for several weeks. I had some other very strange, rarer side effects from the chemo first that involved my hands and my feet. And then after those went away, the neuropathy developed primarily just in my feet. Thankfully, not in my hands. But, and I put up with it for quite some time before hearing about the Physical Achievement Center and deciding to look into it and see if they could help.
What hope was provided to you by your regular medical care provider?
Well, I think there were a variety of opinions as far as hope and also, quite honestly, hopelessness. Some members of my varied medical team would say, well, if it hasn't gone away, you're probably stuck with it. You're gonna have to learn to live with it. Others would offer things to cover the pain when I initially had a great deal of pain with the neuropathy. The scary thing was when the pain went away and I was left with the numbness and the tingling. When I would ask questions of other medical professionals, the answer was always the same. Well, you're just gonna have to learn to live with it. Well, how do I learn to live with it? And I'm the type of person that a non-answer is not good enough. And I actually didn't really know that much about the Physical Achievement Center until one of my neighbors mentioned that she goes there for a totally different reason, but she knew that there were neuropathy programs. So I Googled Physical Achievement Center, and what came up magically was information about a free neuropathy workshop or consultation session. And I thought, I'm going to give this a try. And that's kind of the roundabout way that I was introduced to this great place.
What do you feel you were missing out on before coming to see us? Or things you would like to get back to?
Well, I think that it wasn't so much that I was missing things, but I was getting more afraid of certain things. Just the natural comfort in taking a walk on an uneven surface, going up and down my basement steps, especially if I was carrying something, that sensation of not being able to feel the feet. As a musician, the frustration of not being able to feel and consequently play the organ pedals, or feel the sensation of appropriately playing the pedals on a piano. Comfort in sensing heat or cold. I mean, just some of those things that we take for granted when we're able to walk without any problems. And especially with another winter coming on, the thought of being more at risk for falling. Plus, I also had 3 falls in my home over the last several months, and that was a real wake-up call, because that, if I could do it that easily in my own home, what could potentially happen when I'm out on an icy sidewalk or a snow-covered driveway, etc. So I really knew I needed to try something.
How are you feeling now?
Well, the interesting thing is, after a few weeks of being amidst all the treatments, I feel that I'm noticing changes. I try to share this with friends and family, and if they don't quite understand neuropathy or they don't quite understand what I've been going through, they kind of look at some of this as foolishness or waste of money. And I will admit that the part that's out of pocket for me right now is not easy. My finances are not great to begin with, and this puts a bit of a strain on that. But I don't see it as a strain. I see it as, if I don't do this, the other answer is to not be able to walk, or to potentially, lose a toe. What I'm seeing right now with the treatments, and it's not just the treatments here. I mean, there's a commitment to the things you do at home too. And you have to stick to that exercise regime, using the tools they give you, and the balance exercises and the stretching exercises. It's all part of the program, but I'm noticing slow, subtle changes that I think are for the good. A few days ago, I went up and down my basement steps 6 or 7 times in a couple of hours, sometimes carrying things, and I gradually realized I have a better sensation of this. I felt safer in what I was doing. I had more stamina. Just in ways that I walk around the house, ways that I walk when I get up first thing in the morning, or have to get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. I'm seeing improvement compared to just a few weeks ago or a month ago. Stamina during rehearsals with the various choirs that I direct, where I sometimes would have to sit down after a few minutes. Now I'm standing for the full hour, hour and a half, without discomfort, without a sensation that I'm going to fall. And that's a wonderful feeling. And I have to say that's because of what's been happening in my physical therapy sessions, with the treatments I get here, and then again, sticking to that plan at home. It's like any exercise regime. You know, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And if you don't keep up with it, it's not going to work. So if I'm going to put the money into it, I'm going to put the time into it. And I'm seeing results. So far, so good.
What were, if any initial obstacles to signing up for the program?
Well, the only obstacles for me, quite honestly, were finances. Physical therapy is covered by my insurance, but all of the other treatments, extra supplies, etc., are out of pocket. And that's a hardship right now. But the center at least offered a monthly payment plan. Couldn't have done it without that. So I'm thankful that that option's available. And yeah, it means that money I maybe had set aside for a vacation that I haven't taken in 6 years still isn't going to happen. But I'm not much good on a vacation if I can't walk or if I'm falling all the time. So I've had to make some adjustments and some sacrifices, but again, sometimes you have to do that to get to the bigger goal. And that bigger goal for me is to be able to walk safely and stay upright and function and continue to work and continue to be a productive member of society. Everything else I didn't see as a hardship, because the staff here is they're very open, they're very welcoming. They're really good about working around your work schedule. So really, there were no obstacles when it came right down to it, because I was at a point in my neuropathy where I really, truly had no other choice but to make this happen.
What would you say to anyone who is skeptical about the results of the neuropathy program?
Well, I think personally, the people that I know expressed skepticism to me. They tend to be more skeptical about things in general. I think since this is my this is my second cancer, but it's the first cancer where I actually had to go through chemo and radiation. And I think with all I went through and came out of that cancer-free, it's given me a less skeptical outlook on a lot of things. You have to keep an open mind. I mean, it's like with anything. I know in my heart of hearts that this might not fully turn things around. There's no guarantee. I know that. And I don't think anyone here would profess that there is. But I know there are success stories because I've talked to some of them. And I feel like I'm a success story already because I can see changes for me personally. So I think that's really the best you can do. I've had people ask me, well, will it work for me? And I tell them, I don't know if it's going to work for you. It might not. But you don't know until you try. I've actually, in the last 2 weeks, I've spoken to 5 different people who asked about neuropathy treatment here. And I have told each of them, take advantage of the complimentary consultation session. What have you got to lose? Meet the people, see if you fit into the criteria, hear about the program, find out what you can handle from a time standpoint, financial standpoint, what you're willing to sacrifice in terms of the time that's needed to put into the program. But you don't know until you try. Keep an open mind. That's what I'm doing. And if at the very least this program helps me walk a little more safely, balance better, and again be able to do the things in my work life and my family life that keep me going, then that's a win-win. At least that's what works for me.
Thank you very much, Paula, for sharing your story with us.
You are welcome.